Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, distinguished committee members and fellow participants of the ICICOS 2024 conference. My name is Pravandito Wahyu Widodo from Sekolah Interdisiplin Manajemen dan Teknologi, Institut Teknologi 10 November. Today, I'm honored to present our research on creating a patient data redundancy detection model using deep learning method. Our agenda today is to take you through the following. Introduction. We'll start by setting the stage and highlighting the importance of tackling patient data redundancy. Literature review. Next, we'll delve into existing research and frameworks in this area. Research methodology. Then we'll walk through our approach from data collection to model training. Results and discussion. We'll present our findings and discuss the performance of our models. Conclusion. Finally, we'll wrap up with key takeaways and potential future directions. Let's begin with the introduction. Our background centers on a significant issue in healthcare, patient data redundancy. This often occurs due to double entries without proper checks, leading to incorrect medical records and potentially harmful medical actions. Typically, solutions involve merging and linking data. And then we come to the problem statement. First, how do we address patient data redundancy using deep learning? Second, how do we compare the performance of various deep learning algorithms? So from the background and problem statement above, we conduct our research with the following objectives. First, develop a deep learning-based entity matching model. Second, reduce the data merging process. Let's dive into the literature review, starting with entity matching. Entity matching involves identifying whether two data points refer to the same real-world entity. This is a common problem in data management, especially when dealing with large data sets. As we can see in the tables, imagine there are 3 data points in table A and 2 in table B. Despite difference in spelling, data points A1 and B1 are actually the same, as are data points A3 and B2. Next, we look at undersampling. This technique is used to balance datasets with class imbalance by reducing the number of instances from the majority class. And then we explore deep learning for entity matching. Deep learning has shown significant success in various fields, including entity matching. Previous studies using deep learning for this purpose have demonstrated promising results. Next, let's talk about DeepMatcher. DeepMatcher is a Python library that implements deep learning for entity matching. Our evaluation focused on calculating the F1 score among 4 learning models: SIFT, RNN, attention, and hybrid. The last part of this literature review is model evaluation. Among the 4 learning models, we'll calculate the F1 score for evaluation. The formula shown in the picture. In simple terms, the F1 score provides a balance between precision and recall, ensuring that both false positives and false negatives are considered in the model's performance. This is the state-of-the-art table. We begin with Mudgal et al. In 2018. This research provides ample substance, particularly on 4 models: SIFT, RNN, attention, and hybrid. It also used the F1 score to find the best model. Next, in 2020, Lee et al. Introduced D2, developed from the BERT model. While it showed promising results, it also highlighted potential issues in adjusting the model for specific data, like patient data. Still in 2020, Tilmuruganathan et al. Provide useful context on how deep learning can address challenges in managing large, complex datasets, such as healthcare data. In 2021, Herring et al. Gave us more detailed insights into the application of DeepMatcher. Lastly, in 2022, Ye et al. Introduced JoinMatcher. Although successful with textual datasets, its transformer architecture required significant computation, making it less suitable for specific data like patient data. Our research conduct in 2023 focused more on addressing data redundancy in a specific data set, which is patient biodata. Our goal is to improve data validity and quality. Now let's walk through our research methodology, which follow the flow diagram shown in the picture. First, we start with defining data population and sampling. This helps us establish the scope and scale of our dataset. Next, we gather our initial dataset. This is the raw data we'll work with. Then we pre-process the dataset. This involves cleaning the data and creating pairs of data with positive and negative labels. The result is a labeled dataset. After labeling, we apply undersampling. Our positive records are significantly fewer than our negative records. So undersampling helps balance the dataset. We then split the dataset into three parts: train, validation, and test. This gives us our final dataset. With the final dataset, we train our model using the selected deep learning algorithms, and finally, we evaluate the model using the F1 score to determine its performance. Let's move into the population definition and sampling stage of our research. We collect data from the patient biodata history table with following workflow as shown on the picture. We begin by gathering data from the patient biodata history tables from our branch database, and then we use phone number queries to collect the relevant data. The collected data was inserted into a temporal table in the central database. The temporal table was cloned into a backup table to safeguard against potential failures during further filtering. The initial filtering targeted phone numbers with more than one but fewer than three records. This was done to account for the likelihood of phone numbers being shared among family members. A threshold of 3 was established based on various random query trials to identify a trend for data not shared among phone numbers. This filtering process resulted in 131,672 rows. The data were then entered into the dataset table. Subsequently, data from the dataset table was exported to CSV format, forming the initial dataset. An additional step was taken to convert all data to lowercase for consistency. The table presents an example of this data. We then move to the pre-processing stage. We created pairs of data from the initial dataset and then labeled it. The result was a dataset comprising 1775 rows with 199 positive rows. Next, we address the significant imbalance between positive and negative labels by employing an undersampling method using the Pandas library. We set the negative to positive label ratio to 3 to 1. Following the guidelines from DeepMeasure documentation and common research practices. After undersampling, the dataset comprised 796 rows, including 199 positive and 597 negative rows. The dataset was then split into training, validation, and test sets in a 3:1:1 ratio based on DeepMeasure's documentation. Here is an example of the labeled dataset. We trained the dataset using four models: SIFT, RNN, attention, and hybrid. Based on a study by Islamia et al., the optimal outcome for sample positioning in undersampling was observed at a negative to positive ratio of 3 to 1. Therefore, we used post-neg ratio of 3 over 20 epochs and a batch size of 8 to train our models. For evaluation, we calculate the F1 score to measure the accuracy of each model. As we can see in the table, the RNN model slightly outperformed the hybrid model with an F1 score of 98.87 versus 98.7. For model testing, We chose the hybrid and RNN models. These models were then tested with 7 pairs of data as shown in the table. The table displays the comparison of patient records, highlighting matching pairs with slight variations in spelling and formatting. The results are shown in the tables. As we can see, the results were consistent with the prediction scores shown before. Both models performed well in prediction redundancy, with the scores closely aligned, demonstrating their effectiveness in handling patient data redundancy. Let's start with the experiments and evaluation. Results show the RN model has the best F1 score with 98.87. The prediction scores are closely aligned between the hybrid and RNN models. In discussion, the RNN model outperforms the hybrid model in terms of precision. Both models shows consistent training results with good prediction values, but the RNN model is better at predicting negative labels with lower average match scores while still maintaining good positive match scores with an average score greater than 0.9. Now we reach the conclusion of this research. The hybrid method demonstrated the highest F1 scores in 4 related studies by Hidayat et al., Islamia et al., Akbar et al., and Pratama et al. We utilized a text dataset identical to that used in these studies. However, our results indicate that the RNN is more precise. As Mudgal et al. Note in their studies, RNN excel with sequential data. In our study, we placed the positive label above the negative one, allowing the model to recognize it first. This arrangement likely contributes to the results wherein the RNN was more precise than the hybrid model. Implications: the F1 scores obtained in our study are yet to sufficiently differentiate the outcomes to draw definitive conclusions. Nevertheless, as this study primarily measures the managerial impact of applying this model, it is already usable. The model has managerial implications such as improving patient data validity and reducing time and resources required for data merging. Suggestions: we believe that the close prediction scores were related to the undersampling condition. To achieve a clearer differentiation between positive and negative scores, we need to increase the number of positive labels. This concludes our presentation. Thank you for your attention, and I'm happy to answer any question you may have. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.